everyone, and welcome to Shell Point today for Monday, May 16th. I'm Adam Brown. On today's show, Robyn Church of the Salon and Spa will tell us about the Aromatherapy class taking place tomorrow. And Pastor Andy Hawkins of the Village Church will speak with Terry Kolath about his Academy class, I've Been Wondering. But first, we'd like to remind you of a concert you can enjoy with the Southwest Florida Handbell Ensemble tomorrow. Come enjoy their performance of dances from around the world and international tunes. You will be delighted by their dazzling choreography and exciting music selections such as Lord of the Dance and Minuet. There's no sign-up required, so make sure to be at the Social Center on the island tomorrow evening at 6:45. On Wednesday of this week, don't miss the opportunity to visit the Octagon Wildlife Sanctuary in Punta Gorda, where they rescue and rehabilitate exotic wildlife. Lions, ocelots, bears, otters, primates, and more find the care they desperately need at Octagon. Come enjoy this self-guided tour of their facility and a tasty lunch at BJ's in Fort Myers. The cost of the outing is $18 with lunch on your own. Court pickups begin on the island at 8 a.m. Wednesday morning, so make sure you get signed up. Now, it's that time of the year when the bungee jumping caterpillars return. The black olive tree caterpillar looks like a tiny worm, but it can spin a silk thread and bungee down from the trees to approximately face level. They will continue this behavior during the next week or two and then quickly disappear. During their courtship, as the caterpillars chew the leaves, it is likely that some of the black olive trees will be defoliated. Other than the nuisance, the caterpillars don't harm humans and will do no long-term damage to the trees. Pesticide treatment is not recommended by the University of Florida because honeybees are feeding upon the nectar from the black olive tree flowers, and pesticides could kill thousands of bees. So, now you know. And now it's time to know about the benefits of aromatherapy and what it is exactly. For that explanation, we turn to Salon and Spa Manager Robyn Church. Here's Robyn to tell you all about tomorrow's Health Connections class, Refresh with Aromatherapy.
Hi, my name is Robyn Church and I'm the salon manager here at Shell Point. And I just wanted to share with you a little information concerning our Refresh with Aromatherapy Health Connection class that's coming up very soon. We're going to be illustrating doTERRA essential oils, which are wonderful. They are a certified pure therapeutic grade essential oil. Not all oils are, they're not all created equal. These are kind of the main oils that we're going to be starting with when we do our class. Peppermint has a multitude of uses. It helps to ease breathing, it's kind of energizing. And all of these as well, you can either use them for aromatic purposes, you can use them as dietary aids, and you can use them topically. So they all have all different kinds of benefits. Lavender is great. It's great when you have any kind of skin irritation, or perhaps you've had it like an allergic reaction to something. You can put a little lavender oil on that and it'll help calm the skin down. Lavender also gives you a very calming sense when it's used in a diffuser. Lemongrass is great. You can use that for seasoning. It's often used in Asian and Caribbean cooking as a spice. Wild orange is one of my favorites. That is very revitalizing, and it's kind of a wake-up essential oil. You can even put a drop of that into your water to give it a boost of flavor. Bergamot is great. That is made cold pressed from the bergamot fruit, from the rind of the bergamot fruit. And that also helps with respiratory. Lemon is a great oil. You can put a little bit of that into a spray bottle with some water and spritz the air to cleanse the air. Cardamom is great if you have kind of an upset stomach. It can be very soothing. So also during this aromatherapy class, we're going to be making either a salt or a sugar scrub. It's your choice, and we're going to be adding one of these essential oils, whichever is your choice, to add a little aroma to your oil. And you can take that home with you and use it in the shower, and it's wonderful to exfoliate the dead skin off. Or you can just use it in the bathroom for your hands. It's up to you. But we're sure to have a great time, so I hope to see you then. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Have you been wondering? Are there questions about the Bible and theology that have you thinking, what's that all about? Well, if you do have questions that you've been afraid to ask, or maybe you've just never taken the time to do a deep search for the answers, then have no fear. Dr. Andy Hawkins, senior pastor of the Village Church, is conducting an academy class just for you. I've Been Wondering is a presentation that explores the dimensions of faith, both challenging and insightful. Those who've registered for this course will even have the opportunity to submit questions in advance to Dr. Hawkins. The class begins at 10 a.m. this Wednesday in the Grand Cypress Room. Terry Kolath visits with Andy now to give us a preview.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath. I'm here with Reverend Andrew Hawkins, Dr. Reverend Andrew Hawkins, our own senior pastor. And we're very fortunate in the Academy of Lifelong Learning when he gives us a look at something we've been wondering about. And we're even calling it I've Been Wondering this time. Thanks for joining us, Pastor Andy.
My pleasure.
So I've Been Wondering, we did before, and it was wildly popular.
Yeah, I like to do it. It's a good time in the summer especially, I think, to do something in the academy. And, you know, there are people that always have questions.
Sure.
And a lot of those questions relate to the Bible or relate to theology. And just to give people an opportunity to say, you know, what's this all about? And, you know, I'll try my best to see if I can come up with an answer or two.
Well, I like how you know what people are wondering about. They talk to you all the time. But you're giving us a chance to actually write down our questions, submit them to the church ahead of time, thoughtfully think about the question we want to ask, write it down so that you can give us a thoughtfully response.
That's right. Obviously, people could do this differently. You know, people could just ask questions on the spur of the moment. But I really think the program is better if I get them in advance, because I get to do a little thinking about them and what the best way would be to really, you know, address the biblical issues concerned and how to communicate those things, you know, effectively, rather than simply extemporaneously spouting off, even though the answer might be right, it might not be the best way to communicate it. So I really do appreciate it when people give me the questions in advance, and they can certainly easily do that by simply dropping them into the mail to the church office, or sending them to my email address, which is andrewhawkins@villagechurchshellpoint.org.
Perfect. Well, what I like about this kind of format is I might not even be able to verbalize a question I have, but then somebody else asks it, and I go, yes, that's what I wanted to know. So you're not only coming with your own question, but you're coming with everybody's questions.
And a lot of times I'll get several questions that are similar, and so I'll boil it down and try to identify the common elements in them, and then sort of recraft the question to be able to answer several.
Well, you've been doing this for a while. What kinds of questions? Are there topics that, you know, that really come in waves, or are there the same kinds of questions over and over and over?
You know, the thing that has surprised me the most is how diverse the questions have been from one year to the next. Because I've done this, I think this will be at least my third time in the academy. And then I've also done one in the church on a Sunday night, usually sometime in the winter as well. And so I've probably done 5 or 6 of these. And I don't remember any 2 of them being exactly the same. So I think that's one observation, that people do tend to submit different kinds of questions. There's usually always a question on, like, the end times or something like that. People have some interest in that, and obviously, depending upon the way the world is going, people tend to be more or less interested in that topic. And of course, you know, the biblical witness with respect to the end times, some of it's really clear, some of it is not so clear, so we'll try to sort those kinds of things out. Sometimes then people have questions on some fairly obscure passages that are just simply puzzling. And there are a lot of those in the Bible, actually. You sort of scratch your head and say, well, you know, I'm not sure I can understand what that's about. And a lot of times the answer to those questions lie in sort of the background of the text, the historical context, that aren't sort of visible to the average reader or the person in the pew, but you do need a little bit of a scholarly perspective to help unpack those things. But a lot of people read a section and say, well, I can't understand that, what that kind of thing is about. And then there are always some questions that I really like that start to reveal a person's sort of deep-seated desire to know the Lord better. And those are the questions I really love. Occasionally you'll find that kind of question in a person that's really seeking some answers, and they're not just academic answers. You know, these are answers that might be have a person on the edge of making real significant progress in their walk with the Lord. And so occasionally I'll get something. It could be with respect to salvation. It could be respect to dealing with guilt or forgiveness, which is always a very prominent issue for people. It could be any number of things, but when I find those things, that there's a soul behind the question, a person really needs some guidance. I love those kinds of questions, and that's one of the reasons why it's good to have them in advance, because I can give a little bit better pastoral perspective about it.
Fabulous. And I'm noticing with my grandchild, and you're going to be noticing this too, you know, how beautiful it is to hear their questions.
Right.
You know, their simple outlook on faith. And it seems that as I go more into my senior stage of life, that helps me too. You know, the simple acceptance of faith. It's interesting.
That's right.
And now we have a real rich time in our lives, and we have our village church to help us.
That's right. In fact, you know, there are always some things, some questions that we'll never have answered in this life. And that's okay. One of my favorite verses, and I usually talk about this on this kind of occasion, is Deuteronomy 29:29, which, to paraphrase it, basically says, the things that have been revealed in the law are for your benefit, but the secret things belong to the Lord our God. And so there are some things that we'll never quite get, and I think it takes a great deal of wisdom to say, I can answer this, and with respect to some of these kinds of questions or answers, I just have to, you know, shut my mouth and say, to God be the glory, and there's a time and place for everything, and maybe now's not the time. God is a big God. He's a holy God. He's beyond our imagination, and so there are some things that we'll never quite have answered. But we'll try.
We'll take care of the rest.
We'll try. That's exactly right.
You join us for this wonderful opportunity to settle in on a summer day, which is May 18th, and listen to Pastor Andy Hawkins answer the questions.
And now it's time to take a look at today's happenings, Academy News, menus, and Village Church connections. Right after this, listening to the Words preview from David Howenstein.
All this week on Listening to the Words, you have an opportunity to listen to the radio more like how it used to be. Even though written for New Yorker magazine in 2006, my opening piece is about the beginnings of radio network news in the 1930s from Europe. It's titled The Murrow Doctrine, Why the Life and Times of a Broadcast Pioneer Still Matter. The story is of particular interest to me for several reasons. One, I was born in that fateful year of 1938 when this Murrow story is set. And then my university journalism training was in the state of Washington, where Edward R. Murrow had attended college many years before. And it was Germany in the 1960s where I worked in radio for the American Army. Then we go up to the minute at Shell Point, where we will focus our attention on one of the many authors who live here, Nita DeWeese. You can read many of her stories on her blog, and most recently in her book titled Stories Through Stained Glass, which you will find in the Shell Point gift shop. You'll hear Shell Point TV's Adam Brown and me acting out one of her stories that makes it easier to appreciate that Nita DeWeese's favorite author for style is Stephen King. Many of my listeners know that she's also in charge of the Village Church Library and reads many Christian authors. Nita is one more example of the wealth of interesting folks who reside and create here at Shell Point. You'll also enjoy some truly beautiful poems before the program ends with a delightful James Thurber fable. If you are a regular listener to this weekly program, you have a duty to tell another shell pointer that this 30-minute program can be heard twice each hour, repeated every day this and every week, and shares Tuesdays and Thursdays with replays of village church services. As always, thank you for listening to the words.
Hello and welcome to the Happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Caitlin Vanscoy.
And I'm Bev Chandley.
We're here to give you all of Monday's activities. We start at 8 o'clock with men's round robin tennis at the Woodlands. At 8:45, we have virtual bowling in the Resident Activity Center. And at 9:15, billiards will be played at the Resident Activity Center. Also at 9:15, the Lollygaggers paddlers will be heading out for their weekly outing from the kayak storage. Another 9:15 is pottery down in the pottery studio. We move to 10 o'clock for men's match play tennis at the Woodlands tennis courts. And the Suzy Q heads out to Matanzas on the Bay at 10 o'clock. You do need to sign up for that. Disciple Men's Bible Study Group will be gathering in the game room of the Woodlands at 10:30. And 10:45 is the time for the table tennis playing clinic in the Island Tunnel. Our last morning activity is at 11:30. It's a Health Connections class entitled Bar Ball Edition in the Tarpon. That's all for the morning. Here's Bev for the afternoon.
Thank you, Caitlin. We're going to have Mahjong in the Sable Room of the Woodlands at 12 o'clock today. And that's followed by a 12:45 Zumba fitness class down in the Tarpon Room. Samba, the card game, will be in the Resident Activity Center at 1:15. And at 1:45, we have a Health Connections class, Osteo Break Free. That'll be in the Tarpon Room. That's currently full. The Beady-Eyed Bead Club will be in the Oak Room of the Woodlands at 2. And at 2:45, we have Journey Through Grief. That's at the Village Church. Pilates Stretch will be in the Tarpon Room at 3 o'clock. And we're going to jump to 4:30 for a performance by the St. Francis Xavier Student Choir. That'll be in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. At 5 o'clock, the singles table at the Crystal Dining Room will be available if you're interested. And a couple of 6:30 activities. We have a beginner's square dancing in the Tarpon Room and duplicate bridge in the game room of the Woodlands. And finally, our last activity for the day is a 7:30 square dancing group in the Tarpon Room. Well, we're sure happy to see you here today, and we will see you back here again tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information from Monday. We start the day at 8:30 in the morning with the AARP Smart Driver course in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands for those who signed up. At 10:15, we have iPad What Are the Basics continuing in the Manatee Room on the island. And at 10:30, our Anatomy of Words welcomes everybody to the Oak Room in the Woodlands. At 1:15, Basic iPad will take place in the Technology Teaching Center on the island. Sign up is required. Tomorrow we have a new class with author Robert Maycomber, Yachts That Went to War. And Professor Adrian Kerr presents the third session of English History and Culture.
Menus for Monday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is braised pork with mashed potatoes and asparagus. The dinner special is Old Home Cooking Night for $13.95, and the soup of the day is tomato. In the Island Cafe, the daily sandwich special is a meatball hoagie with fries for $7.75, and the Palm Grill is closed on Mondays. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm Andy Hawkins, the senior pastor of the Village Church, and it's my pleasure to be here with Reverend Don Pullen, who is our new associate pastor, and we're delighted, Don, to have you here and to introduce you to the Shell Point retirement community, and so welcome.
Thank you, Andy. It's great to be here. We're enjoying a nice rainstorm out there right now, and you've said that this is Florida. If it's not raining, just wait.
That's right. Well, you've enjoyed some sunshine, but you also have to have some significant showers. But we're looking for showers of blessing as a result of the ministry that takes place through the Village Church, and we're looking forward to your contributions to it. Now, you have come to us from Pennsylvania. Is that correct? And the church there was?
For the last 20 years, we've served at the Valley View Alliance Church in York, Pennsylvania. It's been a great spot to do ministry, a great bunch of people that that have made a difference for Christ there in that community, and it's been a neat opportunity that the Lord has brought our way.
That's right. And so you've been the lead pastor there, and before you were at Valley View, you were actually at Princeton. Is that correct?
Right. Princeton Alliance Church in New Jersey, which was very close to the area I grew up in, which was a special blessing to be able to, in a sense, come back home and serve in that area and at that church during some challenging times, but times when God's hand was very evident.
Interesting. Well, it's kind of remarkable because the Lord has had you on a journey that has included some other things other than pastoral ministry, and I think people here at Shell Point, many of them will very much appreciate that. You used to grow grass for a living, is that right?
Absolutely. When I was in high school, I began working on a golf course as a starter. You know, that fellow that sat on the first tee of a public course and tried to keep people in line as they arrived on the weekends, and went from that to working on the course in the summertime, and then actually went to school for that and got my undergraduate degree in plant and soil science, working on golf courses in New Jersey and California and New York. So it was an interesting field that lasted for about 10 years as a golf course superintendent, mostly in the New Jersey, New York area, and enjoyed working outdoors. It was awesome.
Absolutely. Now, of course, God had other plans at some point, and you were led into ministry, and then you did your seminary work where?
In Columbia, South Carolina, Columbia International University. There in the late 80s, went there for about 4 years or so to get my MDiv, and met a great, group of teachers and students that we engaged with. And Columbia is a school known for its training of missionaries, and a school with a great world vision to know Him and to make Him known, which was experience that I wouldn't in any way want any different than what it was.
Absolutely, and that school really is highly regarded as the kind of seminary that really does create pastors who not only have a solid biblical knowledge, but can apply that knowledge in pastoral settings wonderfully well. Now, you're coming from having been the lead pastor for 20 years at this congregation in York, and you're coming to be an associate pastor here in the Village Church. What are some of the things that you sort of went through in thinking about a transition like that?
Well, God has gifted me to serve, and I get the most passion and the most sense of God's working in my life when I just come alongside other people and serve. And so while the last 20 years He's had me serve in the lead role, I'm just as comfortable and looking forward to being in a support role, particularly down here, because we have such a great team at the Village Church, and we spent most of our morning together in a little planning session, and it's exciting to be you as our team leader and the rest of the team that we have, to be a part of a team that's not only accomplishing great things for God, but trusting Him in the future for even some more significant things that He may want to do through us.
Yes, that's great. And of course, as you know, we've been working through the development and then the communication of a new vision or mission statement for the Village Church, that we're building a community of forgiveness, purpose, and hope in Jesus Christ. And your position figures prominently into the nature of that mission. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the first 3 words of our statement, building a community, well, that's really what God is calling me to do down here, and what the team is going to be coming alongside me and helping me to accomplish. Somehow, in some way, as God leads us, to allow people to connect to one another. Not only to one another in the church, which is important, but to connect to one another in our community, in our Shell Point community, and the community around us as well. God wants us to do things in community. It's a blessing that we can experience when we do that. And even though it's easier for us to stay within a circle, when we enlarge that circle, there's a richness there that God wants us to experience. Absolutely.
Now, you have your own little community because you are married to your lovely bride, Eleanor. Tell us a little bit about her and her family.
We've been married for 30 years. We just celebrated our 30th anniversary last December. And the Lord has blessed us with 3 children that have now become 6, as all of them are married. Our oldest daughter works for Life Impact Ministries, a ministry of the Christian Missionary Alliance, the event planning arm of the Alliance. So she's working hard right now planning Life 2016, which is in Kansas City this July. Her and her husband live in Columbia, South Carolina. He's a strength and conditioning coach with the Gamecocks, USC. Our middle son, Trevor, and his wife, Ramey, live in Bridgeport, West Virginia, and he works in the gas industry there as a landman. Soon to be working, we believe, for the FBI. There's a large FBI complex that was built in the Clarksburg area, doing background checks for those that purchase firearms, and he thinks that's a little bit more stable than the oil and gas industry, which is one of those industries. Right. And then our youngest daughter, who just got married last summer, lives in Richmond, Virginia. They're in the process of moving from Lynchburg, Virginia to Richmond, where she's just taken a position using her psychology degree. So they're newlyweds, in love with each other and in love with life right now. So
fantastic.
God has just blessed us. By His grace, all 6 of them have a real large heart for the Lord and are excited about serving Him and are doing that in each of their own context, which is a blessing beyond measure.
That's right. And then your wife, Eleanor, she's a teacher, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. She teaches middle school reading, which...
bless her heart.
To have 12 and 13-year-olds in a classroom and to be excited about doing that each and every day. She's always excited about reading and to be able to get others excited about that as well. But she often says there's never a dull moment in middle school because every day is different and the kids react differently. And she said her biggest challenge right now is the fact that it's May and the kids think that school was over. And yet they still have 6 weeks to go. That's so to keep them focused on what they need to do and the classroom running in the right direction it's a challenge right now.
Fantastic. Well, Don, we are delighted to have you join our team here at the Village Church and to be part of the Shell Point retirement community. It's really a wonderful community, as you've already begun to learn and understand, and we're excited to share that ministry together, and we look forward to what the Lord will do during this time of ministry together.
We're looking forward as well.
Thanks for joining us. And thank you for joining us on Village Church Connections.
Thanks for joining us today. Watch again tomorrow when Heather Batty will talk with a registered nurse from Lee Memorial about preventing chronic health conditions. And we'll pay a visit to the Island Creativity Tunnel to sit in on a woodworking class using the lathe. Until then, this has been Shell Point Today for Monday, May 16th. I'm Adam Brown, thanking you for joining us today, and we look forward to coming your way again tomorrow.